So it's been about 1 year since I posted a review of the Mizuno Morelia Neo 3 betas and classics. This is the classic. The betas had carbon fiber in the heel cup. They had the sock built in, supposedly a little newer technology. I got blisters from those immediately and could never stop getting blisters, so I went with the classic. So it has been 1 year approximately that I've had these. These are the Morelia Neo 2s, which at the time I got these were about 1 year old. So these have almost the exact same amount of playtime on them, which is probably playing 3 or 4 times a week, with 2 of those games being on artificial turf, the others on natural grass, and then various coaching sessions also throughout the year. So a lot of use on both these. And these, as you can see, do not have the insert in them anymore. I took it out and popped it into a set of turf shoes I got from Mizuno. So when we weigh these, keep in mind that without the insert, there's probably an ounce or, maybe, I don't know, a couple tenths of an ounce difference. So after a year, we'll go ahead and just weigh them up right quick. So keeping in mind, without the insert, which really doesn't weigh anything, we got 6.8 ounces there, and these were a tiny bit heavier originally, 7.1, so almost identical still to their original weights from a year ago. All right, done with the scale. So what's happened with these in a year that didn't or did happen with these? So the first thing is, when I got these, I noticed there was no rivets in the toe. All right, so no rivet in the toe there. We've got 2 rivets here. And traditionally, most decent cleats have some rivets to hold them together in the toe area, where you're going to get a little delamination up here. Mizuno said they were so confident in their glue and their gluing and bonding process that they did not need the rivets anymore, and saved 1/1000th of an ounce, or maybe just some labor. So have these delaminated in the toe? No, they have not. I'm pretty impressed that there has been nothing happening with the toe here. And as you can tell, I don't know if you can tell from this toe, but you can definitely tell from this toe is I drag my toes a lot when I play, moving side to side or whatever. I notice my son does the same thing, so it must run in the family, but I drag my toes quite a bit. So you can see here, again, no delamination here, so no issue, but neither of them had any delamination. So do we need the rivets? So far, no. What you do notice in this one is there's a lot of threads coming out of here, and we do not have that happening yet on these. The sewing and stitching looks the same on both these, so I'm not sure if it's just a coincidence or not, but definitely some stitching coming out here in 3 different places, not happening in the new ones. The second part I'll point out is the traditional weakness of these Neo 2s is starting to happen with this one right here. So this is the flex point of the shoe right there. And what happens is, as it flexes, this plastic delaminates, and let's see if you can see that in there. I don't know, you can kind of see it right there. It's delaminating from the leather, and then it deforms, and then what it does is it starts to cut into the leather right there. So it has just started to happen with these after 1 year. The deformation of this, the delamination, and the cutting into the leather is all starting to happen. So if I was to continue wearing these, I would expect to get another month, maybe, or 2 before the leather starts getting cut right there, and then that's it. So the other pairs of these I was able to get between a year and a year and a half before they all started doing the same thing. So the new model, they made a slight change, and they kind of curved this in right here a little bit, probably in an effort to deal with that. And was it successful? You can be the judge. Absolutely. So I have no delamination here, no deformation, and no cutting of the leather. So I would expect to get probably another year out of these. And we'll see, because I don't necessarily buy them unless I need them. And these are extremely comfortable and been playing really well. So I'm impressed that the design update here has resulted in a cleat that will ultimately last significantly longer than this one. Next point is the studs. So the studs on the 3s and the 2s were virtually identical. The wear is almost exactly the same. I don't notice any significant wear difference between these, especially in the heel area. So the studs have held up extremely well, especially considering how much use these get on artificial turf. So these get a lot of use on artificial turf, 2 hours a day, twice a week, and then maybe a game on the weekends also. As expected, these have held up extremely well. In fact, you can still see in these the little original indented pattern there. So almost no wear on these. And the other thing I like is the material these are made out of almost feels a little soft, right? Like it gives you really good grip compared to some of the other studs. I have a friend who has a brand new pair of New Balance cleats that he likes because they're wide, and they were the top of the line New Balance cleats. The other day, he had only had them, I don't know, a month, and the other day I happened to notice when he was sitting there that about 6 or 7 of his studs had broken off from 4 on one and maybe 3 on the other. And who knows what happened to those, but he didn't notice when he was playing. But I can't imagine you wouldn't notice if half your stud broke off. I've never had that issue with these. So excellent studs. The other difference in the sole plate with these was the midfoot area. So this had a slightly different design here. You can see it's flat there versus this kind of thing down the middle. It was supposed to, as it flexes, it's going to return more energy. I didn't really notice any difference. So the play between these two is almost exactly the same. The other thing I initially wasn't sure if I would like or not is the old Neo 2s. This is, a nice solid piece here that comes up around your heel. And so this kind of, to me, I always felt like it was gripping my heel in place, this little extra bit right here. It felt good. It didn't give me blisters. It didn't bother the back of my heel. But the new ones, getting rid of that, they just kept the shape, but they made this little kind of tab out of some flexible material. And I don't know that it really makes a difference or not, as far as this one hugging to your foot and the heel a little more than these. But I can tell you that I do notice when I put these on, I feel like, oh, I missed that old little bit coming up my heel and just kind of gripping me in. I don't know that I can tell the difference in play, but I definitely feel it basically every time I put them on. I think, oh man, I really missed that. So that's the only other section of this that, is really different. And something I notice every day. I put it on and like, boy, that little heel gripper's gone. But again, I don't know that I notice the difference actually when I'm playing. So other than these have held up extremely well, no stitching issues anywhere, no delamination or deformation or cutting of my leather right there. The studs have held up extremely well. The one thing that these have done, and it might just be the pair I got, but both of them did the same thing. So my left and right, this material in the heel, and it's going to be hard to see, but it's kind of come unbonded from what's underneath it. Like the different layers have kind of delaminated inside the cleat. And I never had that issue with these. You can't really tell. These do feel slightly different. I don't know if you can see that little piece poking up there. And if you can hear this, when I'm doing this. I'm going to do it slow, see if you can hear it. Okay, so you can hear that kind of little sound like glue being stuck together and then coming apart. So what's happened is the delamination of these materials has caused both these, my left and right ones, to have like a little squeak when I'm running. And so I guess it's the materials kind of squeaking against each other, and it's extremely annoying. I've tried to address it without any success. So that is my one annoyance with these, I guess, other than the little heel thing, is the delamination of that material in the heel area has caused really annoying squeaking. And it's not really loud. No one else is going to notice it, but I just kind of notice when I'm running, just little squeaks from that material delaminating. So other than that, two little annoyances. But other than that, they've held up extremely well. And again, I don't notice that squeaking when I'm actually playing in a game. I just notice it when I'm maybe warming up before a game. So not that big a deal. And maybe they've solved that in, since then. So extremely happy with these. I still have these sitting around just in case I need them. But I don't think I ever will, as long as these continue to hold up and I don't have any issues here. So 1 year, these have held up better than these, despite the few little annoyances. Pretty happy with the design, the slight design changes, and obviously no issues with delaminating based on them getting rid of rivets, which begs me to wonder why in the other video I just did, in these that I just got and have not played in yet, these Mizuno Waves, Morelia Wave limited editions, they just riveted the crap out of these things. There's 3 rivets up front, and there's a couple rivets there, and there's stitching all around. So if you're so confident in your glue process that you say, hey, we don't need any rivets or stitching, well, what are you putting a bunch of rivets and stitching in that for? I don't know. So that's it. 1 year. Excellent. I think I can fully retire these now, knowing that these will go another year or so without any issues. Thanks.